Hello everybody and welcome back to the show. I can play whatever I want. And today, I will be doing a quick little ranking about the Danganronpa 2x2 cast, seeing who I think will live. Wait, hold on. Actually, I didn't make a bit for this. Just one second. Wait, what? I will be doing a quick little ranking about the Danganronpa 2x2 cast, seeing who I think will live, who will die, you know, the whole shebang. I've been getting into these kind of unscripted videos, especially when I'm kind of in a rush to get stuff out, now that I'm back, but, you know, I think I'm gonna enjoy it. You know, you guys get my honest, unscripted opinions, you know, maybe I can be funny on the fly, who knows, but, you know, I'm really excited. I don't have too many theories, but I've definitely heard some stuff, and I could easily come up with stuff on the fly, so we'll see how it goes. Starting off with Akane. Okay, listen. Okay, listen. Let's be real. Akane being a survivor, I mean, I was okay with it because of how, like, things went with Nekomaru. Even though she didn't truly grow or change in any way, that's a kind of a thing with Danganronpa 2, is that even though characters will experience loss or struggle, they don't really change much or have growth, which isn't really a bad thing, but it's especially apparent with Akane, where even though she doesn't outright battle Monokuma ever again, which is a pretty high bar to clear, she doesn't really change personality-wise, and just kind of mourns Nekomaru a lot, and, like, was good friends with him, you know? She didn't really change much. And because of that, it was kind of weird to see her survive. So I don't really know. I was personally okay with it, but I don't see her surviving again, especially considering her growth, and I would say part of the reason she survived being because of Nekomaru's death. Or, I don't see her being a culprit, honestly. I think she's gonna be a victim. Next up is Chiaki. This one's kind of obvious. Definitely not a survivor. And she was already a culprit, so I'm going to go with victim again. She's probably going to die off rip, and maybe we'll get a new, like, assistant character or something like that, if you know what I mean by that. I just don't personally see Chiaki surviving, because she's the AI, she can't. And she was already a culprit. And I don't think she has the ability to kill, or at least, like, being programmed lasting as long as she did, it gives off the impression that she can't kill. Or even if she can, she wouldn't. Because the whole point is that she's supposed to be, like, a programmed AI. She's supposed to be, like, the perfect girl, the perfect e-girl, I guess, like, for these classmates. So it doesn't make sense for her to kill one of them. So I'm definitely gonna say Chiaki is, like, the most likely victim, like, in this group at all. So, I don't know, that might hurt some people, but I just personally don't see a possibility of any of them other than victim, so yeah. Next up is Byakuya. Out of my way. This one's kind of tough, because he, of course, was a starting victim, and, you know, I don't think he's gonna be the first death, of course, but do I think he'll survive? I've been thinking in my head about the Ultimate Imposter plot twist from the anime, about, like, seeing the imposter's face. Would they really do that? Is there a chance that the story changes so much that Byakuya, the ultimate imposter, takes off his disguise? Is that a possibility? If it is, that would make me put him in Survivor, but I don't know if that's truly a possibility. And for now, I might make a separate tier, just for now, about, like, the I don't know. Just for now. Because this guy right here, he's a real special guy, isn't he? So special. I think he could be a survivor or a victim. I feel like he would be a victim later down the line, or he would survive. I don't see Byakuya, the leader, becoming a culprit. But, like another thing I mentioned earlier, he could very easily die after his talent is revealed. The kind of thing where you reveal it and then immediately kill off the character. I mean, there's a million different possibilities. Like, there could be one where the ultimate imposter embraces his lack of identity and ends up living in the end, but, I mean, honestly, who knows? But right now, in retrospect, what I'm leaning towards is actually having him become a culprit Hear me out, I know what I just said. But in a similar way to how he died in the original game, having him actually, try to save somebody, and whether that be through killing someone by accident or on purpose, whatever it may be. There may be more of an antagonistic force other than Nagito, especially if Nagito dies early, that kind of forces the imposter's hand to end up having to kill said antagonist towards the end of the game, in like Chapter 5, for example. So, because of how many characters could possibly survive in this game, I actually might lean towards culprit a little bit more, just A, to make space, but also because I think this possibility is pretty likely, I would say. So, next up, Hajime. Obvious survivor, if you're trying not to change the continuity of the game, which is what they said, and not retcon anything, Hajime has to survive so he can revive everyone else. So, of course, that means Hajime is a guaranteed survival. Ibuki, though, this is a tough one. Obviously, we know Ibuki would never be a culprit, so, but she's a little unserious for a survivor. But then again, Akane survived, so I'm gonna put Ibuki in the survive tier for now. I might go back and change things by the end of this list, but I think I'll put Ibuki in a survivor solely because she's never gonna be a culprit, but I just don't see her being a victim again, She could die a little bit earlier, but you never really know. She was such a likable character, and she was pretty high on popularity polls, especially in the West. But this is all wishful thinking. Regardless of how popular Ibuki is, that's not gonna do anything for her survival or not. That's not how the Danganronpa writers, or whoever they are, write the games. The fact that Ibuki is already a very strong personality and a character that's already basically complete, it feels really weird for her to already be a survivor. And to prove this to you, let me tell you a little thing about psychology. Ibuki has reached self-actualization, based on the little info we have. Now, to go through this very briefly, because this isn't the point of the video, and it might get its own, but Ibuki has literally never had any problems with herself in the entire game, or in her backstory. Starting off as early as the anime, Ibuki's personality literally does not change an inch from throughout the entire anime, and throughout her lifespan in the game. She never has any internal conflict with herself, and she stays perfectly herself the entire time. Additionally, during her free time events, you do get to learn about her history as a musician, but primarily she spends the entire time trying to help Hajime with his problems about trying to learn his talent, rather than Hajime helping with hers, which is how most free time events actually go. In terms of the band itself, though, she actually left because she had creative differences with the band, which thus emphasizes the fact that she believes that she can reach further. The fact that Ibuki is, or at least has a very strong grasp of the maximum potential of her character and personality, is enough to tell you that she's probably reached self-actualization, thus obviously telling us that she really doesn't need to live long in these games, because where is she supposed to go from here? That, plus the other points I bring up a little bit earlier, tell me that she's probably not going to live. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk on Ibuki Miura. See you guys in 2 seconds. It would be strange for a character who's so intense to fit into the narrative past Chapter 3, and then on top of that, already be a character who's been pretty complete since the start. It makes basically no sense for her to survive. So, unfortunately, she's probably just gonna be a victim again. Fuyuhiko, probably a culprit, let's be honest. Fuyuhiko's whole growth depended on Peko dying in his place. Fuck! I liked her! Fuck! And that's what caused him to, not do anything. But if things are gonna change, Fuyuhiko changing is definitely like a high possibility. So I'm gonna put him in culprit. Mahiru, I think she will survive. That is one of my biggest things. There's not a fan game, but like a fan story of Mahiru being the main protagonist that I genuinely really enjoy. And I think Mahiru is by far the most normal person of these group of people. So I'm definitely gonna give her the survivor, because you gotta have, like, first of all, a good man to woman ratio, but you also gotta make sure that at least one of the other characters is normal. So I'm gonna give that to Mahiru. Now, before I even continue, I'm gonna skip to Terror. I'm gonna make him a victim, because, yeah, there's no way this guy's killing again. To be fair, his was very situational, like, regarding Nagito, and, like, Nagito being like, ah, ha, 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 I'm gonna kill, and, that just didn't really...
Workout for Terry.
I don't see him doing a murder under any other circumstances beyond being set up like that. And yes, I know he did it for his mother, but the driving force behind his kill was because Nagito provoked him into it.
And I fight for all the single moms out there that don't get the respect they deserve.
Let's do this! I am dangerous!
I just don't see him murdering again, so I'm gonna give him victim. Now, next up is Mikan. They will not do Despair Disease again.
My beloved.
Now, tell me this. Do you think that Mikan will murder someone if she wasn't basically brainwashed to do it? Fuck no! Hell no! So, that's why she's going in Survivor for me. She could be a victim. That is true. Even though she low-key already is one. But right now, you know, I have a lot of victims, and I just don't see Mikan being a victim. Like, who would kill her? I don't really know. For now, I'm gonna put her in Survivor. Huh? What is that? You can't go around telling me to stop on my channel. You know that, right?
No fan service past chapter 3.
Well, I guess that makes sense. Wait. What about Trigger Happy Havoc, where, like, they showed Sakura's you-know-what's, like, you know, when she was fighting Monokuma?
The game gets, serious or whatever. Just fucking listen to me, bro.
Okay. I guess I gotta put Mikan in the victims here, I guess. I don't... Whatever that guy says. But I guess in retrospect, if we are talking about fan service, it's a little weird to have someone like her live past that kind of chapter. Especially because the trauma she's been through is not the kind of thing you can develop in, like, one game. Like, that's just not how it works. So, I think I'm actually okay with that decision. But moving on to Naruto, or what's his name? Nagito. I think that Nagito will be a culprit. Like, they're not keeping that guy around nearly as long as they did before. For sure. He's not sticking around. Especially because he was supposed to be the stepping stone for hope. And wait, did someone say stepping? Like stairs? Like this, like Subaru walking upstairs clip? I could see his plan succeeding, or any kind of kill succeeding, where he does either successfully kill someone or becomes a victim for someone. So he's definitely not surviving. But considering that at the start of the game, he wanted to be someone who killed, he wanted to be someone who killed someone. I just see him succeeding in that, you know? With no terror to interject him. I have a feeling that, even though that CG does exist, I have a feeling that he will kill someone eventually, if not, like, immediately. Or you could say he's gonna cook, much like a Terror. Especially because, like, the Danganronpa team, they love to do fake outs with promotions. Like how in Danganronpa 1 they promoted Sayaka to be, like, the typical, like, duo partner of the main protagonist, only for her to die off at the beginning. Or how they promoted V3 with having Kaede, of course, being all over all the cover art, and then have her, you know, die. So the Danganronpa team is very, very not above deceptive advertisement, and so making that CG does make me a little worried for Nagito's survival, because they love to mislead. So because of that, I'm gonna put Nagito in the culprit tier. And Peko, this one's a little bit but I just don't think that having Fuyuhiko die off, like, I think their roles are going to switch, essentially. I think that Peko, although, you know, whatever event may trigger might not cause her to be changing her entire outlook on her life, but I think that Fuyuhiko might act in a way that will be for her sake rather than her doing something for his sake. I mean, this is really just a guess. We're going off of nothing here, but I think that Peko might genuinely survive here. Okay, and so from here, honestly, I might have to change some stuff, high-key. Well, actually, before that, I think Kazuichi, I'm gonna just skip to him really quick. His personality is, like, very intense. And that's, like, a thing with a lot of these characters. He really just seems like a Chapter 3 death to me. Like, he doesn't really seem like he's surviving again. Definitely not. And he's way too timid to kill anyone. So I just see him as a Chapter 3 death. Moving on, I actually do think that the surviving is between Nekomaru or Gundam. And I think that Hyoko will be a survivor. I think that with her change in character, she won't be as intense as she was beforehand. That is not beforehand. What? And I think her growth will actually come through this time, and she might become a much more chilled out character like Fuyuhiko ended up as. And I hate to like compare the two of them, especially because of like the whole drama where, ooh, Fuyuhiko was meant to die and Hiyoko was meant to survive kind of shtick. But generally speaking, I do feel like their growth might be swapped this time around. And I mean, the whole reason that people believe that Hiyoko was supposed to survive over Fuyuhiko, like, that whole thing is just like not true at all. I mean, the whole story behind that is in, I'm pretty sure, an art book about Fuyuhiko becoming a robot instead of Nekomaru, and then having to pick someone to die instead, being Hiyoko. They wanted to turn Fuyuhiko into a robot after Pekko's execution, but they thought it would serve as poor taste. For the record, it would be. With Fuyuhiko's arc being very serious. Holy shit, it really did get serious. And then kind of just turning it silly with having him turn into a robot, which then having Nekomaru die in chapter 3 instead. Then it kind of makes things complicated because then we have a whole extra survivor. Instead of Hiyoko dying in chapter 3, it'd be Nekomaru. So because of that, Hiyoko was chose to die. That is generally how it's supposed to go. I don't really know how it got misconstrued or whatever, but yeah, I think for that reason, I think Hiyoko could survive, and I still think Fuyuhiko will end up as a culprit. While we're on the topic of Hiyoko, though, I'm actually thinking a little bit, right? So at the end of the game, the reason they're able to escape is because at least half the students need to be alive for a forced shutdown sequence, right? Notice how there's 5. Pay attention to that. So in my head, I'm thinking, we don't need all 5 people to survive, right? We only need 4. And honestly, especially when I was thinking about earlier, like, the kill count just keeps getting higher and higher with these games.
And I think we need 5 people to survive here. I think 4 people surviving this game might actually be another thing that makes this game different. How they're gonna do that, I'm not entirely sure.
But I did have one theory. A game! Is that ever done? I think that somehow Nekomaru is going to die, like, before Akane gets the idea to fight Monokuma. And because of that, she dies. She's dead because she broke the rules. Jesus, can we hurry this up? So, because there's no Nekomaru there to save her life, I'm considering it in a way where Akane dies to Monokuma, and then we can continue the game as normal. You know what I— Yes, we know what you mean. Jesus Christ. Of course, this isn't even likely. The thing with these games is that if they want someone to die, they can write it however they want. What makes Danganronpa so special is that you can literally write anything into fruition. But we honestly gotta move on, bro. So, starting off with Sonya, honestly, when it comes down to who's left and who I've put on the board, it's really hard to put Sonya anywhere else except for the culprit. I mean, looking at who we have and the female cast in general, Chiaki might not even be, like, able to kill. It might be breaking her code to do so. Ibuki is literally just incapable of killing, let's be completely honest. And Mikan was already a killer, also so is Chiaki. And she is, like, way too clumsy to actually do anything, especially considering there's no despair disease to fuck her over this time. So, obviously, the only girl that's left is Sonya, and even though it's kind of weird for me to assume that she'd kill, since she's, like, basically the embodiment of what elegancy is, being a little princess, who else is gonna kill? Obviously, they want to keep it equal with having the genders correct, so, like, there's nowhere else to go from here. Sonya has to be a killer. And so, because of that, right, I was just talking about these character dynamics, I'm actually gonna reconsider something with Mahiru. So, of course, I know I've been backtracking a lot, but I also remember what I said about Mahiru, saying that she's one of the most normal of the cast. It'd be kind of weird for her to kill. This is the perfect opportunity to flesh out her character when she wasn't able to be fleshed out before. Yes, all of this is still true. However, in this case, don't you think it's weird to have Mahiru and Hiyoko survive? Especially because of how close they got in the original game. That kind of bond is undeniable. That will stick around. And it was cut off prematurely. So because of that, I think it will last a while. However, I do not think it'll be endgame. So, what I think is going to happen is that Mahiru here is going to sacrifice herself for Hiyoko. Essentially, what I'm thinking is that there's going to be some kind of antagonistic force that is going to threaten Hiyoko and basically force Mahiru to have to become a culprit. So then, all of a sudden, whoa, there's a survivor spot. Who am I gonna give it to? Mr. Gundam Tanaka, which, of course, with how he is both personality-wise and in the game, it's kind of hard for him to, you know, kill again. The only reason he killed is because he was forced to. The whole thing behind his final speech being that you need to live life to its fullest potential and not to let yourself just die a feeble death. So he's definitely not going to be a victim. So I think Gundam is going to live. So yeah, I think this is a definitive list of everybody who's left. That being said, I'm kind of sad that I put Mahiru in culprit, but I could see her living until like chapter 5 or something where there's really no choice. But yeah, that's kind of it. And I want you guys to argue in the comments all you want. Nitpick this video to death. Don't personally insult me, but disagree with my takes. Agree with my takes. Do whatever you want. I want to see a comment section full of opinions because this is something that needs discussion. And I am so excited for this game to come out. So of course, go crazy in the comment section. I want to see all kinds of theories and crazy bullshit that you guys can come up with. But listen, I know you guys have been thinking this whole time, Trey, the whole point of Danganronpa 2, the whole point of Danganronpa having 5 survivors was because 5 plus Makoto, Kyoko, and Byakuya, which is 3, equals 8. 8 is exactly half of 16. That's half of the cast. So if you only have 4 survivors, how the are they going to get out of the virtual world program? There has to be 5 survivors. Well, guess what? What I think the event that's going to change everything will be is that Yasuhiro Hagakure... Yeah, I'm done.